Hi, I'm here today with Don Crawshaw, our GW author for Heating and Cooling Essentials that just released in its 5th edition. Hi, Don. Great to see you.
Great to see you too. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for being here today. I wanted to start out the session today with you sharing your background with our audience about where you've been in HVAC education and the HVAC industry and what you're doing now.
I started probably some 30 years ago as a helper on a sheet metal crew that went up to sheet metal installation till they finally got tired of me and kicked me across the street to the service department. So I run service there for commercial, light commercial and residential. I was also a service manager for them for a while. And then I felt like I needed to spread my wings, so I moved to Salt Lake City and went to work for, at the time it was Scott Polar. It was a commercial refrigeration supermarket company. So spent my time doing service with that, and also done the energy management for the grocery stores. Bounced back and forth between Colorado Springs and Utah here. Finally moved to Colorado Springs to be the service manager over there. That's when I ended up starting teaching for Pikes Peak Community College. First, I taught for Intellitech, a private college. When I moved to Pikes Peak, I was the department chair for them. I was there for 5 years. We moved back to Salt Lake here so my wife can take care of her father, who's got stage 4 prostate cancer. At the time, I wasn't sure where I was going to work when I got here. Then I heard that college here was looking for an instructor, program coordinator. They were looking for someone with community college background and HVAC skills. So I guess I fit the button. So here I am.
Excellent. So now you are the program coordinator at Salt Lake Community College then.
Yeah.
It sounds like it was a perfect fit for you and for them. So congratulations on your journey with HVAC. Good thing you had both of those skills combined. And the Heating and Cooling Essentials has both a textbook and a lab workbook. Can you tell us a little bit about the balance between the theory that's included in the book as well as the lab activities?
The textbook was written basically as a technician trying to teach the students what I thought they needed to know when they got out in the field. The theory and practice. It's not a engineering, it's definitely a starter book.
Yes, your book actually has a unique space in HVAC education. There are a number of large books that 1,500 or more pages for more comprehensive programs. But your book seems to fit that great need for those introductory courses, for those entry-level learners like you're talking about there. What type of courses would you say are best for your book? Would they be more the certificate programs or programs that offer a shorter duration of classes?
Probably basic electricity and basic refrigeration.
What would you say are some of the other key topics that are covered in your book that are important skills for you to teach your students and for other instructors to teach their students?
I think the customer service chapter about naming really mechanical skills is great. They also need to have soft skills, customer service stuff.
Now, this time around, the book is offered in both a print option as well as an online option for students. And I noticed recently that we've included the Follow the Heat animations and some other interactive troubleshooting activities for students to use with your content. Can you talk to us a little bit about your school and how you're handling online classes versus in-person labs and how you're balancing that in this crazy year?
So I lucked out. For about a month, I guess it was, we was doing everything online, and I tried to, we use a Canvas as our learning management system. So I was trying to figure out ways to keep them busy at home. Luckily in June, we were able to bring the students back. So we teach on the competency-based education format. They got some stuff they have to do on, they can do on the computer at home. Then they come in here and do their lab stuff.
I know the lab activities in your book. There's 169, which is great. Do you know if those lab activities are those able to be done in the classroom and at home, or are those designed to be done in a lab setting?
There are a few of them that they can do at home. Most of them they have to do here at the lab.
Can you give me an example of a procedure, a service procedure that students would learn doing one of the lab activities? Is there any that your students really like to do the most?
One, they have to disassemble and assemble back furnaces, and they have to work when they're done. They have a lot of training on recovery and evacuation and charging equipment. If they leave here, they don't know how to do that, I'm in trouble. They should definitely have had a lot of practice doing it.
That's great. And how long would you say it takes to complete a lab activity from the lab workbook?
Probably about a half hour.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Usually students get one lab completed a day when they come in. Because of competency based, they can come in whenever they want to. We don't have set lab hours, and we don't do formal lectures. It's basically all the information is online.
When a student comes in to do a lab activity, how are they graded on the lab?
The labs are graded more as mastered or not mastered, whether they fully understand concept or they don't. Well, they can't move on to the next stuff until they can prove they understand what we're teaching at that point.
For this 5th edition, can you give me some updates that you made that were not in the 4th edition? Are there any key topics or changes in the HVAC industry that needed to be covered in this edition?
One area was with refrigerant. As most people know, refrigerant bottles come in all different colors of rainbow. Starting this year in January, they're changing all the tanks to a gray color. So the technicians will have to make sure they check labels as to what refrigerant is in it instead of just grabbing one and go. It might be the wrong refrigerant because they all going to look the same. That's one we did.
So Don, as I mentioned, your book is a smaller book compared to a lot of the large comprehensive HVAC books. It's still filled with a lot of content and a lot of great information. You've purposely kept the theory more concise for these entry-level learners. I know there's also a lot of illustrations in your book. Can you tell us sort of the thoughts behind that concise theory, the multiple illustrations, combined with the procedures that you teach them?
The theory is very important. If you give them too much or overload them, I've read some textbooks that I couldn't even understand because they're told more like engineering manuals. So we kept it small with just enough information they need to understand that theory, and then provide practices and, like I said, pictures to help hone it in.
Now, does Salt Lake Community College, does your program use heating and cooling essentials in the courses there?
Of course, yes.
I thought they might. Do you have any comments you've heard back from students about your textbook?
I had one student that was really surprised. They didn't realize at first till they see my name on the cover. You did this? Yeah. It's really great. I think
That's
they seem to be, they feel like that they're getting the proper training because their instructor has wrote the book.
So Don, in your author bio, it says that you have earned your CMHE certification from HVAC Excellence. Can you tell us a little bit about the process you went through to earn that certification?
It consists of 7 exams, and we, as instructors, we have to get a score of 80% or better. When the HVAC Excellence was, when the conference was live, they would usually give free tests. So took many of those that I could take. Then I take the rest of them at the college's testing center back in Colorado.
Excellent. And does that certification last a lifetime, or do you need to get recertified?
It's lasted a lifetime.
So Don, at your school, do you have students that are taking the employment ready exams that the ESCO Institute provides?
We offer it to them. They need to do a better job of that. But I have one student that probably has taken at least 25 of those exams and passed them.
That's great. He's probably on to a career in HVAC then, huh?
Yeah, he's working for the college's department here, HVAC people here.
For the students that are at your school, what are the job opportunities when they finish at your program? Are they getting jobs right away?
Yeah, our program is a 9-month certificate program, and most of our, at least our daytime students, have jobs waiting for them when they graduate. Our nighttime students are already employed in the field. So the company sends them to improve their training.
So I read somewhere that your book really encourages students and motivates them to continue on a path in HVAC education, mainly because the book does not intimidate students. It's designed in a way to make it very student friendly, as we talked before, with the concise theory and the illustrations and the activities that give them hands-on learning opportunities. Do you find your students using the book? Do you find that to be true with your students there?
Well, our students basically have 2 paths. One is get a job, or they can get credited into the college's apprenticeship program, HVAC program. Right now, a lot of companies out there kind of they're in so need of help. They're kind of doing their own apprenticeship program, so they don't really get the education they get. More will be on the job training, which is nothing wrong with that.
What type of feedback do you hear from employers when your students get placed in jobs or apprenticeships? Do you get any feedback from those employers about how the students are ready to go?
Yeah. Funny thing is, same thing here in Colorado Springs, that community didn't realize that we had a HVAC program at the colleges. Now they're definitely know they're here and want to be part of it. I constantly get employers calling me and ask what they can do to get a hold of our students.
So Don, are there any trends or changes that have taken place in the HVAC industry that would then affect HVAC education?
Because of the phase out of refrigerants that we have now, a lot of small appliances, particularly like in kitchens, commercial kitchens, the refrigerant they use is propane now. So we definitely need to teach these students. There are certain things they need to do with the regular refrigerants. There's some more things they need to do with this propane refrigerant, so they don't blow themselves or the building up.
That would be important to teach.